Anyone out there that's looking for a boost of hope and strengthening your faith, here's the movie to do the job. I'm very excited to talk about this one. So let's jump into the review of the new film, The Shift. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. Today we're going to be reviewing the new film, The Shift, which is available right now in theaters. So I have had the chance to check this film out a little bit early. I also got a chance to talk to the director of the film. But now that I'm getting my chance to get this review, I was a little under the weather. I just really couldn't be more excited to talk about it because it's a fantastic film. And while there is some very important messages within it, just the overall plot is exciting. And then the cast, which starting off with Kristoffer Polaha, who plays Kevin Garner. This is a man who travels across worlds and dimensions to reunite with Molly, the love of his life. But he is met by a mysterious man known as the Benefactor, who's played by Neal McDonough, who just, Neal, if you know me, you know I love some Neal, who basically sends Kevin's world in a direction, an alternate dystopian reality that this makes this journey back to his wife almost impossible. But with that being said, though, you know, the Benefactor is one that threatens Kevin's survival. And while he does offer him wealth and power, Kevin has to sort of distinguish between right and wrong, good versus evil, and truly what matters most as he makes his way back to the world that he knows, and then the woman that he loves. So it's all about a man that is just destined to get back to his wife. But as I mentioned, challenges on the way. So the thing about it is that the story really does inspire you to do something. So it's very positive on that note. And while it does have a stir of religion in it, it doesn't beat you over the head with it, which is good because, you know, sometimes folks hear that religion is a theme in the film and they run the opposite way. And that's, you know, that's whatever it may be for you. But I feel like the film is very spiritual. And anybody who has a sense of faith, which hopefully everybody does, or just anybody who's looking to do and make change in the world on a positive note, I think there's a lot of little messages in here that will encourage and enhance that, which by all means, society, we can use a little bit of that. So yeah, there's a lot of good messages and themes, and just moments that really just have you want to do something right in the world. And it's the type of inspiration that humans and society can take and use to send us in the right direction. So one biggest thing is paying it forward, which is something that the studio behind this, Angel Studios, is also sort of intertwined in terms of his marketing, where and I'll have this in the description below, but you have an opportunity to buy tickets for folks who may, you know, the lesson and the unfortunate folks who may not have the monies and backings to do so, which gives them a chance to check out the film, which is amazing. I was literally just kind of jaw dropped to know that that was a thing. It's very beautiful, and it's very beautiful that it intertwines within the film. But as the film, again, focuses on doing positive things in society, well, the studio itself is also setting an example. So I thought that was really, really cool as well. But kind of talking a little bit about the plot here, I think within the first 5 minutes, you have a lot of questions. And so the intrigue with the plot is very high. So for me, I was locked in. I was like, I need to see what's happening here, because you kind of get introduced in the world where we see Kevin coming out of a pond. He's clearly hurt. And then you're wondering, how did he get to this point? Then you kind of reset and you see him in a very different aesthetic, you know, and everything is well. So you're wondering, how did you get where the film begins off on? So on that note, it's not action packed, but you're definitely on the edge of your seat with the utmost curiosity in terms of like what has happened in Kevin's life here. So this science fiction journey, sci-fi journey, is definitely mind bending and spiritually testing. And at the core of the film, as I say, it's a spiritual journey of a man who's at the lowest with his faith, with it ultimately being tested, with tons of metaphorical moments and things, as well as like sort of reflective teachings within like the scripture. So to kind of make this very simple, there's a heavy dose of good versus evil. You can even go as far as saying God versus the devil. But even when you talk about the production of the film, the score is magical. I really love the score in this film. Acting, Neal is amazing. I mean, listen, he's amazing very quickly too. And while his character isn't a good character, he's so good with it. You clearly don't want to root for his character, but Neal is so good that even you start to buy into the temptation of this character, which in fact is what you call good acting. And then, as I mentioned, the lead here in Kristoffer's character Kevin, Chris is absolutely the perfect duality across from Neal. They both got very extensive resumes and have done so much character work, but it might be very, very safe to say that this may be their best of their both performances, just because of how they just elevate one another throughout the scenes. I mean, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to think otherwise, but here you go. And then even Molly, who's played by Elizabeth Tabish, she's great too. Not a big role in the film, but still makes the very most of the moment she has. And also makes sort of Kevin's journey by her performance seems more convincing, because you kind of feel this almost once in a lifetime relationship for the two of them, which is special. Love, you know? With that being said, there's also some other interesting things, because there's like a little multiverse sort of theme. And I love, which happens to be one of my favorite lines in the film, about how choice bends infinite possibilities and realities. Like, there's so many different interpretations of what the multiverse is, but this one feels so natural, because I think everybody had a moment of thinking like, if I didn't do one thing and I did the other, how would that have sent my life for the day in a certain direction or trajectory? And making it very simple and putting that on the table, this makes Kevin's journey just that much more interesting, you know? And then when you talk about the shift, the title here, let's think of it in this way. Like, imagine having the power to move someone from one reality to the next, to shift people, which happens to be something that Neal's character, the Benefactor, presents, you know? So shifting can move people between worlds. So that's how you kind of came with the titles here. But anyway, after refusing to work at a Benefactor, he looks to find his way back to his wife. And while he's in this other world, he's just doing his best to try to survive. But also, too, he's being sort of plagued by health issues, the lack of nourishment, financing, and so on. So, you know, it's truly interesting. And then, as I mentioned, actors here, Sean Astin plays this character Gabriel, which I'm not going to give anything away, but by things I said earlier, Gabriel, just the name itself should sort of give you just a little bit of an indication in terms of the character that Sean is playing. But he is there to help Kevin with his plans, where he must have to go face to face with evil. Sean is great in everything he's been in. Sean absolutely is like the cherry on top with this cast. You know, him coming in brings a certain other type of energy, and it just makes the film just flows even better with him. So there's that. And then again, just to go a little bit more about the faith aspect of it, scripture is illegal. So I can't think what film it is, and I want to say it's like Divergent, I think it is, but it's another dystopian. Oh, Mad Max, I think it is. Yeah, Mad Max, I think it is, where reading books is illegal. It's sort of the same sort of like reality in terms of like, they're living in a world where they don't want you to further educate yourself on anything that could be detrimental to the system around them. So the scripture is illegal. There's other folks who know it. There's other folks who may be on the low trying to teach it, but it's truly the means of folks' survival is their faith, and their faith is the way that can guide them home, that guide them to their dreams, success, and so on. So there's that. And again, Kevin is needing all of this along with being aligned with the other folks in order to find his way home. And just because this is like a self, sort of a journey of self, his journey is much more important and way beyond him than he ever could imagine. So there's that. And the last thing I'm going to say is the credits. There's a timer in the bottom of the credits that indicates that there's a stinger. And in this stinger, you do get a message from Kristoffer, the lead of the film, in terms of giving back. I love this for whatever reason because it was so unique. I've never seen a timer that says like credit scene is coming, but ultimately the message as well too. I thought that was such a very, very cool take. I did hear from the director that this was something done by Angel Studios, so I'm not sure if this is something they've done in the past, but this is the first time for me, and I thought that was really, really cool because like in the world of cinema, we all wait to the end of the credits to see what's going to happen, and there is like a level of disappointment when there's not. But the fact that you get the timer so you know what's coming, so the anticipation is building, and then you have such a heartfelt message, it was really, really cool. And even without that, I think I'm still very much interested in seeing like a sequel to this. This was like a really, really good film that, while it's a really good self-contained story, I think there's so much more they can do with this. And I would just love to kind of see Neal's character and his interactions with other folks. You know, I think there's definitely more story to do with Neal's character. But even if not, nonetheless, it's a solid watch that you certainly should go out the way and do so. So check out The Shift again in theaters right now. Jump in the comments, folks. Let me know your thoughts about this one once you check it out. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.